Hi, good evening, everybody. Thank you very much for coming by, spending some time with me on this webinar today. Hi, good evening, everybody. So the idea of the webinar today. Oh, just give me a moment. Sorry, I've got a bit of echo off my own sound. I'm just going to see if I can work that out. Okay, that should be much better now. Sorry about that. There's always a technical glitch with everything when you start off. So I'll start again. Thank you very much for coming by on this webinar today. The idea is for me to have the opportunity to present to you our new IXO Trading Platform. It's a multi-asset CFD platform and the first of its kind launched by INFINOX, something I, as the managing director here, am very proud of, and so is everybody here at INFINOX. So let's begin. The first thing I'd say is if you can just have a look at your window that you're looking at now, which is the YouTube Live on the bottom right, you should be able to click the full screen mode. And if you can click that, you'll get a full screen version of the platform, which is most helpful. I'm just going to switch back on my formats here. If you give me 1 second, and then I can enter into the platform as is. Okay, there you go. So this would be the front of the platform as you see it when you first log in. Hopefully you've got it on full screen mode, which I think makes it significantly easy to use. Essentially what you've got here is a platform that we've built to allow you to trade almost any CFD in the world based on, and it's created on three main principles: innovation, insight, and information. Three very big words. And what we've tried to do here is to create a one-click trading solution for all clients. I'm going to start by walking through the out frame of the platform, and then we'll get into some of the more exciting stuff that happens within. So you have a watch list, a market list here that contains a whole range of different assets. On the left, you can scroll through, choose Forex, indices, commodities, cryptos, equities. You can create them into your own little personal watch list if you wanted to. Folding that back, you have a chart. This is a chart provided by Chart IQ, a very comprehensive trading chart. From this option, you can change to a variety of chart styles. So it could be candles, bars, lines, etc. You have the range, so you can change between the range of trades. So if you wanted to go to a set of 1 month candles showing 4 hours for each candle, you could do that. Moving on to studies, so you've got all your kind of indicators here. If you prefer to use Bollinger Bands, you can click on the Bollinger Bands, engage them with the platform, right-click to edit or delete. Another very popular one I know is the moving average. So the same thing, you can put in various moving averages, set parameters, and once you're done, again, just a very simple right-click and then a delete. Moving on from there, if you wanted to trade or use a crosshair for analysis, you can do so relatively quickly and easily to do so. If you wanted to use your own analysis, then a click of a button gives you a whole range of different tools that you can use on your chart. And again, just a quick click switches it off. Very, very popular we find with our clients is the one-click trading option. So buy, sells, placing orders, and again, a click to switch off. And then you've got your deal tickets, your order tickets. Something I've hidden away here, which I'll expand later, is the news. So you can pop open the news channel here, and this is supplied by the Dow Jones Newswires and streams through all the relevant news. And I'll come to how that gets a little bit more exciting in a moment. And then again, to just fold away, a quick click there will fold it away for you. If I can get that there, which I can't, but that's probably because of my hand more than anything else. Down the left-hand side here, if you had open positions or working orders, they appear here. Two very exciting tools here, our sentiment analysis and our Autochartist, which I'll come to shortly, but I'll just continue with the larger frame and layout of the platform. We have a unique tool here called IX Labs. This is a proprietary tool that we have created based around sentiment trading, not so much sentiment in terms of where clients' positions are in the market, but the concept of sentiment. Very exciting, and being that what we're looking to do is to go out to the marketplace and hear what people are saying. we then take all kinds of news and information from a whole variety of sources, give it a weighted index, and then present that to you in a geographical format. The most likely way to explain that is to think about something like social media or Twitter. You have what's trending. What's trending is a way of collecting what people are talking about it and what they're saying about it. We do exactly the same thing here using big data and AI technology, and start to create some sentiment signals, which we present to you in 2 or 3 different formats. And we'll come back to that later. We have a live streaming webinar session, which is what everybody's on today, where we're able to stream live webinars to you over a variety of different languages, topics, and something that's quite engaging, because as we're presenting the webinar, you can carry out your analysis within the platform, or if you wanted to pick out trades or have a look at what we're talking about, you've got the quick deal tickets here. And then obviously, as important, the account. No trades on this account yet, but all your account history, order history, various activity logs, etc., all stored away for you here. At the top, balance, P&L, margin utilization, and of course a few language options. So let's go back to trading and get started on this. So I touched upon 3 important elements here, which was the concepts of innovation, insight, and information. And we try to present that to you as a client in one click of a button. And I'll show you what we're talking about. If I just click on, we'll come back to Eurodollar as it was up there first. If you were to click on Eurodollar, you'll see the Eurodollar chart will appear, as well as news focused on Eurodollar, sentiment analysis focused on Eurodollar with a nice graphical illustration, which I'll come on to, and the Autochartist. So at one click of a button, you've got technical analysis here. You've got the pre-scripted technical analysis from Autochartist on Eurodollar for you. You've got your fundamental analysis on Eurodollar provided by the Dow Jones Newswires, and the sentiment on Eurodollar. The whole concept of this platform is saying that when you do want to trade something in one click of a button, you really do empower yourself to be able to execute those trades. It gives you all the information. It gives you an insight into what's going on in the markets. And we use innovative technology, big data, and AI to provide you the sentiment analysis. I've run through the charts there for you, which we did briefly, and I can come back onto that in more detail later. So I've just folded the news away there just to give you a wider view of the platform. And I'm going to talk through to you a few elements. So once we've done the platform overview and you've got yourself familiar with that, I suggest that we go on to a key part here, which is the sentiment analysis. So let's talk a little bit about that. This is shown in a summary version here. And essentially what we're doing is saying that of the news that is being talked about in Eurodollar, 64% of that news is actually bearish. So 64% of it is a weighted index of the commentary on Eurodollar says Eurodollar is going to go down. And of course, the converse of that is 36% says it's going to go up. So again, not where clients are trading, but what people across a range of the media are talking about. And we're compressing it all down for you. A wide range of sources from Dow Jones all the way down to Twitter feeds, making sure that the relevant news sources of the best authority are given the most weighting. And by compressing it down, we're defeating something commonly known in this world as infobesity, which is simply where there's so much information everywhere you go, you have no idea what to do with it. And as we all know, the old saying, over-analysis leads to paralysis. And what we're trying to do is prevent you being paralyzed by information, but rather give it to you in a form that empowers you to trade and to trade successfully. Once I scroll down here, this is a comparison here of the correlation between sentiment and price. Something that's very exciting for you to view here. I'll just click away on Skype there. The exciting to view here is the signals that appear. So if you have a look at this price, it says the sentiment on Euro was bearish, it became bullish, turned bearish again. It tracks the price for you. And on this correlation, it produces a little signal. If you were to click on, say, this little red dot, it says here, daily news sentiment is moving lower, and in 50% of the last 10 occurrences, price has fallen within 7 days. So that's a little trading signal based on sentiment to tell you what might happen with the price of Eurodollar based on what people are saying. Interestingly enough, if I look back here, that was published on the 3rd of July. If I go to a quick range study here, let's get on a 4-hour candle, get our crosshairs out. Let's look for the 4th of July, which is approximately here. And from the 4th of July, as you can see, the price of Eurodollar has gone down. Now, I'm not saying that every signal is perfect, but it's a good place to start if you're looking for trades. And I'll come on to IX Labs in a minute, which has more information around how you can use sentiment. At the same time, once you've selected Eurodollar, you can then go on to the sentiment analysis. So as an instrument to trade, and you've got the chart up for your analysis. You've got some information here with how sentiment works. You've also got Autochartist. So Autochartist is showing you there's a range, a downward trend here. And when you hover over this, it gives you some more information, the quality of the trend, how long the trend has been going for, uniformity, clarity, gives you all kinds of information around Autochartist. That Autochartist produces a very well-known indicator here, and will give you an idea of what's happening as a chart pattern recognition software. So that's all done in the click of a button. I'll just turn the crosshair off here to make it easier to navigate. So that was the Euro-dollar example. Let's flick through a few more just so we can see how this works in practice. I'll come to some equities. Okay, let's look at Aussie dollar. So Aussie dollar, you can get some information here on the instrument, trading, position sizes, margin requirements, etc. If you wanted to, you could go to the quick chart option, and if you drop down, you can then add it to your watch list. But I'm just going to make it easy. Click on Aussie dollar, and as you can see, the chart has changed to Aussie dollar in the click of a button. The sentiment is loaded up. Unfortunately, Autochartist is taking a moment. Sometimes that can happen. It's all part of a refinement process. I think I can see on your screens it may have loaded, but on mine not quite yet. But that can happen. It will load. So we're looking at Autochartist here. If you wanted to carry out some range studies, as I said, you could change the candles there. You could use various indicators. If you wanted to crosshair, you could just click on the crosshair. If you wanted to add an analysis of your own, you could put a horizontal line or a regression line or anything that you were looking to add in there. What it's done here is told you that 57% of what's being said about Aussie dollar is bearish. And actually quite interesting, here's a little indicator that's popped up. So we can see here a while ago, back in the late part of June, if you click up, if you click on it, you can see daily news sentiment is moving higher, and in 60% of the last 10 occurrences, price has risen within 9 days. And if you just click off that there, you'll see actually price has tracked upwards. And another sentiment indicator has been produced here, which was back in the 2nd of July, it looks like. And it said daily news sentiment is moving lower, and in 50% of the last 10 occurrences, it's fallen within the last 9 days. So let's do that quick analysis here. Let's have a look. So I'll get my little crosshairs out. We're looking to find roundabout where the 2nd of July was. And if I pull this back to 2nd of July, suppose here's the 2nd of July, somewhere in this region here, and you can see in the comparison, there was the price on the 2nd of July, and today Aussie dollar's fallen. So another good signal. I'm not just picking out the good ones, I'm just going through a few instruments, but they're not all perfect, as I said, but interesting anyway. Let's do one more. Here's another popular one to trade at the moment with Brexit and Trump. Cable, pound dollar. So again, just one click on pound dollar produces a whole range of analysis for you. If I was to pop open the news button here, you will see all the news, then focuses on pound dollar news, which is very helpful if you want to carry out some fundamental analysis. I'll just click it away for now, not discarding it, just making a bit more space for us. A couple of signals here. So once you've had a look at your chart again, if you wanted to get a bigger picture, more candles in your chart, if you wanted to get slightly more specific in it, there you go, relatively easy to do. Having a quick look at what sentiment is telling us again. So this is taking the weighted index of what people are talking about and how they expect cable to move. Quite a strong signal here. So 70% of what's being said about cable is quite bearish. High news volume, so cable obviously out on the forefront of the news at the moment. And a high fear index, which means that there's a lot of passionate talk going on, and we expect some larger market moves from that. Having a quick look, here's a little sell signal for cable. That was an old one. 70% of the last 10 occurrences, price has fallen within 6 days. That was a few days ago. Here's a buy one that didn't last very long. That's at 60% the next 2 days. So that one wasn't right. That's okay. And the most recent one, quite a strong one here actually. Daily news sentiment is moving lower, and in 80% of the last 10 occurrences, price has fallen within 6 days. So let's track that back on the chart. I'd say approximately the 2nd of July. Well, it looks like 2nd of July was quite an active day in the news. A quick crosshair there. Let's see if we can find the 2nd of July. And yeah, there was the price on the 2nd of July. And we can see it's tracked downwards. And just to be sure, let's have a quick look at what Autochartist said. And Autochartist was saying there was a trend form there. It was a channel downtrend, as you can see. It should load up in a second again. just lost that in a slight delay. But Autochartist has shown, there you go, channel downtrend, 25 candles long, gone for 240 minutes, continuation of a downward move, fairly good quality, quite uniform within the range and very clear. So if you were a client, trader trading today, and you thought, I fancy cable in the news, maybe that's a pair that you quite like trading. For whatever reason, you look at it, maybe like everybody else, you're concerned about Brexit, as you probably should be. You would, on one click of the cable chart, you'd be able to get your own analysis going. You'd be able to get a view from sentiment, which is driven by this big data AI technology. Autochartist is there to support you. So once you've done your analysis, you can fall back on these two here, pop out the quick news, have a look, and what's going on with the pound and dollar news. And then away you go. You can place your trades here. If you wish to work an order, you can do that. So there's a little currency explanation there. Let's move on to something else. I know the index traders are also very popular at the moment. So quick flick over there, down to the indexes. Let's load up indices. Let's give you a bit more space. So let's look at the DAX, I suppose, is a popular one. So interesting. So here's a little bit of spread of news here, and this shows why having a variety of different types of news sources can become very important in making trading decisions. So you've got your chart here. If you wanted to pick out some levels, you could do. If you wanted to maybe mark them out, you could do that by, you can go to, say, a Bollinger Band if you wanted to, and have a look and see if that gives you an idea of what's happening. If you wanted to do your analysis, you could pick out some tops and bottoms, some support and resistance lines. Maybe a quick look, see what's going on in the news in relation to the DAX. Get rid of that. And then down to sentiment, which is quite interesting. It's saying 96% of the sentiment on DAX news is quite bearish. And if we scroll down here and get a graphical illustration, here we go. So a few days ago, this sentiment signal was produced. Daily news sentiment is moving lower, and 70% of the last 10 occurrences price has fallen within 4 days. So why don't you guys write that down? Or if you're on your platform now, maybe think about putting a little test trade on. And let's see if that sentiment comes to fruition. That was produced on the 6th of July. And if we just do a quick analysis, 6th of July, somewhere around just before the weekend, I think it was, if I remember correctly, there was DAX price, and we can see that it's already started to make its way downwards. So an interesting one. And then a quick check on Autochartist. So Autochartist, interesting, is saying there's a channel up, fairly strong quality, quite uniform, 90 candles long. But actually, if we click off that, you can see the channel up on Autochartist has now been broken, and we've seen the DAX has started to break the channel below. So if you're a technical analyst trader, you could say maybe that trend has been broken, maybe looking for a downward move. I won't bore you with the DAX. Let's move on to something else. Let's say you like to trade another US 100 stock market here. Interesting. So another bearish view on the US indices at the moment. So same process. You can have a look at your chart. If you wanted to flick out the news, there's some news there to help you out. Again, driven by the Dow Jones. So really, really exciting and important for us to get somebody like the Dow Jones to be able to give us their news wires, their feed directly into the platform, and for us to be able to sync it up with what you're interested in trading. The way that goes, down to sentiment, let's have a quick look. Another very bullish situation on the sentiment. 92% of the news that's being talked about now is signaling a bearish move. And of course, as you scroll down, is an interesting one here. 50% of the last 10 occurrences prices fallen within the next 6 days. And Autochartist there saying, here's a trend that's going on. They've said it's a rising wedge with some quality, some uniformity. So keep an eye on that. Let's see if this instrument does break that lower side here and follow suit with what sentiment is saying. One more, shall we, on the US markets? What's popular? The UK markets out of hours, so that's a little tricky one. Let's look at US 30. Again, similar process. Interesting here, different formation. On Autochartist, again, another bearish sentiment coming out of the US indexes. So interesting to watch what happens there over the next few days. Autochartist showing us a different formation here. It's calling this a pennant, and you can see price kind of converging between these two lines here with some strength, and looking for a break to the bottom side, which falls in line with what we're expecting. And as you look, this pennant has started to break lower. So there's an illustration of how you could trade a few more instruments. One of the instruments that's really exciting about this platform, and it's a hot topic once again, and not always a hot topic, but it is now, with the cryptos. Remember, when you trade cryptos, a lot of what drives the crypto markets is sentiment. It's what people are saying. When people talk about maybe Bitcoin making a comeback, or somewhere in the world something positive has happened for Bitcoin, the sentiment becomes really strong. Bitcoin is driven a lot by the media, by social media. So let's go have a look at some cryptos. Let's have a look at Bitcoin quickly. So out comes a little menu here. Let's drop down to cryptos. Into Bitcoin we go. Let's push that back, and let's see. So Bitcoin chart, I'm sure we're all familiar with how they work nowadays. Quite erratic sometimes. Bitcoin here, they've got a bullish forming opportunity here. It says that 55% of the news that's being talked about is bullish. And actually what you can see is we had as you know, we had a bullish run on Bitcoin in sentiment, and then fell away, and we're starting to see that kind of reversal. And it's popped a little buy signal here that says daily news sentiment is moving higher. And in 70% of the last 10 occurrences, price has risen within 4 days. Interesting to see. I would say that probably came through around about the 8th of July. And let's have a look and see. Around about the 8th of July, which is this area here, you can see price has actually started to make that move from what is down here up towards a slightly higher price. Let's see how that develops over time. Some of the best correlations we've seen over time have come from Bitcoins, and we'll explore that perhaps in a future webinar. This is a multi-asset platform, and I've talked about Forex, and I've talked about indices, and I've talked about cryptos. So let's go have a look at some equities here. This is the first time that INFINOX is offering US single stock equities, something very exciting for us. Well, all types of equities, but here's some US ones that are going at the moment. Apple, one that we all know well. So again, the same format. Your Apple chart comes up. Look at this, 85% of the news that's being talked about in Apple suggests that the Apple share price will become or is bearish. And if you scroll down here, a little signal appeared for Apple News here that said 50% of the last 10 occurrences, price has fallen within 9 days. And that was around about the 7th of July. I suspect that hasn't quite happened yet. As you can see, Apple price on the 7th of July has started marginally fallen off, probably not quite as much as we expected it to. But again, another example of how you can use sentiment for all instruments you trade. I think I've been through a few examples there. The key obviously is to log into your demo accounts, play around, give us a call anytime if you require any support with that. It's a platform I said we're very excited about, and we're looking forward to talking to you guys about it and helping you guys to use it. If we pop out news, I didn't do that there, but there's some news related to the US market, and I'm sure as news on Apple develops, that will come through too. So let's move on to the next section of the platform here, and that's the IXO Labs. Now, this is a new center, and I touched on that earlier, but this is a new exciting center that we've created that really is focused on giving you, the trader, as much information as you need to pick out good trades and understand what's happening in the market. So in this screen here, the summary of the indicators that you saw here whenever you changed an asset, they all appear here in another graphical form that's also easy to understand. We have the sentiment market alerts here, which we'll come to in a moment, a graphical illustration. So here's Eurodollar again, the changing sentiment correlated with the price and some signals on it. Relevant news for you to be able to scroll through quite quickly, again from the Dow Jones news wires, and then of course the all-important economic calendar. And you can filter through the calendar to pick out various or important news that you're focusing in on. So let's start with the sentiment indicators. If you're looking for opportunities of what to trade, maybe a good way to go is to select one of the markets. What are some of the bigger moving markets where really sentiment news is most relevant? If you look at, say, risers and fallers, here are some big ones that are occurring today, and they can be through equities. You can change them through to maybe popular markets if that's what you focus on trading. And then if you want to scroll down, you can put them through anything you want at all, maybe some trending ones. Some of the ones with the biggest highest news volume, no surprise to see Bitcoin on there. Facebook again, some of the bigger US stocks. So you can flick through anything you want really, and focus on some markets for you there. And as you flick through, you will see that the DAX news will change. So here's one that's come up. There's a 96% of the news right now showing a bearish move about to happen in the DAX. illustrated on the chart here. Here's all the DAX calendar for you. So whatever DAX news has come out or is coming up is all available for you to reflect on and to interpret and analyze for your trading. And here's the Dow Jones that continues to provide you news on the DAX. So really a one-click research center, not just repopulating what everybody else has, dare I say, tongue in cheek, but actually going out and saying, here's some real big data AI through our sentiment tool, and this is how you can use it. And then, of course, some market alerts on the DAX for you. Let's assume that you didn't know or didn't really want to go around finding what the biggest movers are, but actually wanted to look for what you thought would be good bets. And I say that with loosely good bets in inverted commas. You could change your confidence of potential market alerts and say, all right, I just want to see market alerts that are coming through with, say, more than a 61% confidence level. And then you can scroll down here and see which instruments have produced market sentiment alerts and how long ago they produced them. And that could give you some ideas. Obviously, if you can filter through and pick some newer ones, then the newer the instrument sentiment, the more likely are you to be able to catch that market move. And if you did decide to, say, click on cable, for example, once you clicked on the cable option, you just scroll back up here, say, right, I'll have a look at cable. And you can see there, we've got an 80% confidence cable. There's a signal that was produced here. Daily news sentiment is moving lower, and in 80% of the last 10 occurrences, price has fallen within 6 days. I don't need to go to a chart to show you this one. You can see price has tracked and fallen downwards there. And again, there's some cable news on the calendar for you, and there's some news around what's happening in sterling and dollar for you to reflect on. So another way of interpreting the news, rather than having to pour through large amounts of information and reading what a lot of analysts say, more important, you don't have to read the words. We just have to get the sentiment, the tone of what they're saying, presented to you in a graphical way, and then you can get off and trade that. So as we move on to the webinars, which we've seen, I touched briefly upon that. Here's some webinars that we've already done as INFINOX. You should see more and more coming through now. And as you're watching this webinar, if you were to look at something and think, actually, I like what this analyst is saying, or there's a great trading idea, then you can look for popular markets. You can create your watch list, etc. And then you can look to pick your trades off as you go. So in a summary, that's essentially a brief synopsis of something that INFINOX has created through our unique proprietary IXO platform. It is a multi-asset platform. It is focused on you being able to trade almost any CFD. As you can see, we have a few instruments in here, but we can go as far as any equity market, any instrument. Commodities is a good example. If I show you the commodities list, you can trade anything: cocoa, coffee, OJ, something that I used to be involved in a long time ago, lean hog, something to watch around as we get to the festive period, all the way down to soybeans, sugar, your oils, your volatility index, gold, silver, and the list goes on. So in terms of being able to trade an instrument, if there's something that's tradable, we're going to have it. And if there's an opportunity in the market, we want to be able to present it in a way that you can identify it quickly and take advantage of it. The platform, in summary, is based around this concept that as a trader, you should be able to get a variety of information to your fingertips at just one click of a button. And really, in summary, this is driven by that concept of innovation, insight, and information. So in one click of Eurodollar, here's a chart that you can analyze. Here's this unique sentiment product, which we will do further webinars on, that you can use to give you an understanding of what people are saying and how important it is, as well as produce you signals to action it. And there's always Autochartist, probably, well, it is the world's most recognized chart pattern recognition software. And instead of having to flick around to different place to get it, we plug it right here in the platform. Don't forget, the news is always important. And for your fundamental analysis, here's all the news that you could possibly need. Now, I would like to take some questions and answers, but in this occasion, the functionality is being re-uploaded. It is a brand new platform. We're so excited to launch it. We've only really started offering it out to clients in the last week. The uptake has been fantastic. What I'd really ask you guys to do is please have a play around with it. Compare it to the platforms you currently use. Give us a call if you'd like an extended walkthrough, if you want to understand more about the different instruments we trade, the different opportunities that come up through, whether that's charting, Autochartist, sentiment, our unique IX Labs tool here, whatever it might be. please do get in touch with us. You know, our support team, known for providing premium client service, based here in London. Give us a call, come on the website, get on the chat button, whatever it might be. We're always ready here to help you out, and your personal account manager is always going to be on hand for you. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I hope it wasn't too brief. I have a habit of talking too quickly. It does happen, but hopefully in future ones we'll be able to cover more topics and go into more in depth. So thank you again. Have a great evening, and look forward to hearing your feedback on the platform. Bye-bye.